Hi, I'm Mary Jane, and today I'm going to show you how to make a trivet using wool from Stone Barns sheep. So in your fiber box, you will find, I think, a half a pound of roving, which is combed and fluffed and cleaned wool. You'll have some tulle and a piece of ribbed plastic, smooth side down, so the ribs are up. At home, use what you have. Don't go out and buy anything new for this. If you have gloves, great. Insulated is the best because you're going to be working with very hot water. You'll need a ladle, a potato masher, and a wooden spoon if you don't have gloves. Some soap, an 8 to 10 inch pie or cake pan, and some towels for squeezing out your trivet later. And then I like to put a couple of towels on my counter so that the water doesn't end up all over my floor. You'll also need some boiling water, and I just have a pot over here with, ultimately you're going to need a cup of water for each trivet. So I just filled a pot half full and boiled it, no specific amount. So here's what to do. So take your tulle, and you lay it over your pie or cake pan so that there's an even amount on 2 sides and a lot extra on 1 side. Sorry, even amount on 3 sides, a lot on 1 side. And then you're going to take some roving and you're going to, I've got it so it's roughly about the size of the pie pan, and I'm going to separate it so I can lay it evenly into the pie pan, curving any straight edges around to meet the pie pan, and adding a little more wherever it needs it. You don't want to see the bottom of the pie pan. And this first layer is going kind of in one direction. The next layer will go in the opposite direction, which helps the fibers to knit together and become stronger than if they were all going the same direction. So this way, I'm fluffing this out, kind of tucking in those ends, and feel it. See if there are any areas that feel lower, that feel higher, and try to even them out. And you want to have enough roving in here, enough wool to make it about the height of the pan. So this one's, I think, 1.5 to 2 inches deep. So not a ton. If you go much over that, it's going to be really hard to work. The middle will start to squish out. So I'm just getting a little around the edges because they feel a little low. Oh, another thing you'll notice is that you might find some, or there will be, little bits of fiber from the pasture where the animals live, and that's normal. It's been cleaned. If there are any big pieces that you find offensive, you can always pull them out. The little ones will just kind of work their way in and you won't even notice them once it's felted. Okay, so now we're ready for some hot water. This ladle holds about a half a cup, and I'm going to do 2 ladles full. So you can be as precise as you like. Roughly 1 cup. So that's 1. And I'm holding this just to catch the drips. Holding the lid to catch the drips. And then I'm going to add about a 1/4 teaspoon of soap. I'm just going to drizzle, but you can measure. If you get too much soap, it makes it hard for the fibers to knit together. So if you do get too much soap, you can rinse out a little bit after you do this process I'm about to show you here. So I've got my gloves. I'm going to pull the tool over the top, keeping it loose. I don't want to jam this side in and pull that side because that'll give you a flat line. Keep it loose so it can remain in a circle, and then gently tap down all the way around. And you can press very lightly at first and then a little bit harder as you go, and then the water and the soap will come up from the bottom. If you don't have gloves, because this is really too hot, if you're using your bare hands, you could use a spoon to do what I was just doing with the gloves on. Oh, this one works really nicely because it has this nice round edge. You can also try a potato masher, whatever you have, to get the soap and the water infused through the wool, and pressing down the edges right up to the edge of the pie pan. So then you're gonna pop this out. There's a lot of water in there. This is where these towels come in. I'm gonna put my gloves back on. Whoops. If you don't have gloves, work this wool in as hot of water as you can stand. You don't want to burn yourself, but the hotter the better. So you're going to press this a little bit and then just wiggle a little bit in the beginning. You're going against the grain. If you're going with the grain of the plastic, it's not going to give you any friction, and the friction, the soap, the heat are all what make the wool fibers knit together. So do this a little bit, flip it, rub it a little more. And this stage is a little bit gentle, but we're going to get a little more rough with it soon. And you don't want to do too much of this rubbing with the tool on it because it will felt right to the tool. And if that happens, it's not a big deal. All you have to do is peel it, hold the wool and peel the tool back, holding where it felted to the tool. And you can see I was working with brown wool before this, and some of mine did felt right to it, so it's not a problem if you just hold it and pull it off. So now I'm getting now I can do more friction and a lot of water is coming out. Any excess you can just drip right into the pan or let it go into your towels. Or if you're doing it outside, you can just go right onto the ground. So, and I'm flipping and I'm trying to move it. I can, I just have it in a, kind of in a heap, and I'm rubbing against the grain. You can hear those ridges. And, you know, get the edges, flatten it out, do it flat, ball it up. If you're outside, you could stay right on your workspace, or if you don't mind your whole kitchen getting splattered, you could do this inside. We're gonna do this, but I'm gonna go outside because it goes pretty far. So we're just gonna step outside for a sec, and I'll show you this other fun part. So I have another piece of this out here, but you just bring your same piece and you throw it. Throw it as hard as you can. And you can intermittently rub it against the ribs, throw it, When I was doing this over the winter, I found that the cold temperatures of the air really helped to melt this. It's spring now. It's a little cool, but not as cold. And the fibers shrink with the shock of the temperatures, with the super hot water or really cold water. And going from hot to cold shrinks the fibers even more. So maybe you've shrunk your favorite sweater that way. But that's why. It's the shock, it's the soap, it's the friction that together the fibers knit together and become felted. So, and you can see just in that little bit, it's starting to look kind of wavy, a little lumpy. I feel like this needs a little more. And I would do this about 5 to 10 minutes. Until it all looks about evenly kind of lumpy. If you have a lot of fibers sticking out, do it for a little longer. If it looks pretty evenly lumpy, you're good. And it's just about ready. So we're gonna go inside and rinse this under cold water. So I'm just rinsing to get out the soap. And then so it's kind of a wonky circle right now. If you can leave it like that if you like that, or you can stretch it out because it is still pliable when it's wet, and you can stretch it to be the shape you want. You can take out, if you don't like any of these big fibers, again, you can take those out. And there you have a trivet. So another variation is you could, if you wanted to make smaller ones, just get a smaller bowl or a pot, small pot that's the size you want, and you could even make a set of coasters. And it's the same process, same exact, just smaller. So I hope you have fun with this, and email us, let us know how it goes. And that's it. Thank you. Have fun.